Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please note that it is always better when you're here, because, and without you here, I would just be talking to myself. And I'm sure I could find something better to do than that. And it's a call-in show, so if you want to participate, that's a big part of the show. We had one of the Google censors the other night actually censor a comment in the middle of a live show. So one of the Google, watchdogs, I guess, censored a comment right in the middle of the show. And Craig's getting yelled at like Craig did it. And Craig's like, I didn't do it. So this is a big part of why we do a live call-in show, because then we can talk and you can have your comment and the Google's not going to censor you. And I'm really not going to censor you as long as you're not saying something completely stupid about ethnic people or whatever. I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to share that with other people. Speaking of which, Craig has managed to get us white privilege cards. He has a connection. And he is handing these out with a Mox News media package, Mox News business cards, My Cock for President postcards. And if you want to get one of these white privilege cards or a Mox News media package, Craig will send you one out for any donations of $10 or more. So, and then we got all kinds of other stuff. Craig made this new mask, right? And it's from the cartoon video that we play about where you see my face on the Statue of Liberty, and he made one that looks like my face from the cartoon, but these dang things don't ever fit me right. You know how most of them people have to keep pulling them up? I have to keep pulling them down. And you think putting them back up is uncomfortable. Pulling them down because they're covering your eyes, that is a pain in the ass, let me tell you. Okay. That being said, I have a few videos. I don't know how many of you saw the video that I posted right before I came on the air. It was an interview with the Seattle mayor, and the Seattle mayor was saying, the Seattle mayor was being asked if she would fire police officers who refuse to take the vaccine. As she said that she would. Police officers have until October 10th, something like that, to get fully vaccinated, which means they have to take the first vaccine in just the next few weeks, right? And there's, I guess, supposedly a few or more cops that are saying, yeah, we're not going to get the vaccine no matter what. These are cops, right? Pillars of our community. And she kept being asked the question, are you going to fire the cops? And the mayor's like, well, I don't think that's going to happen because I'm the big authority around here. And when I say jump, they don't ask how high, they just jump. But she refused to answer the question. She said, I don't think that's going to happen because I think these people, when they see what's happening, they'll all want to get the vaccine and make everybody safer. And the interviewer, which I have the interview right here, I'll play it for you in a minute or two. The interviewer is saying, I have letters and emails from police officers right here that are saying they will not get the vaccine. Again, pillars of a community. And she says, she just dances around the thing. She says, well, they're probably not going to do that in the long run. They're going to want to. And she goes, I know this person. He told me himself. He is not getting it. And again, pillars of the community. And, So the mayor refuses to answer the question. I thought it was a pretty good video. I posted it right before we came on the air because I thought it was that good. I have it here in the lineup also, along with a few videos about Afghanistan. I have like 2 or 3 videos about Afghanistan because really the conversation tonight hopefully will be focused on war. Because when you frame the question like, can humans survive World War III, right? You have to look at history first, really. And we have to figure out where we are right now. And the way I see it has been this building up to World War III, right? They're like, the military-industrial complex gets turned on with Afghanistan. Okay, we have this little war in Afghanistan, people living in mud huts and caves, you know, George W. Bush's words. That's not how I would view the Afghan people. You know, I don't know their civilization. I wouldn't, you know, berate any civilization like that. It's like he's calling them, that they're saying that they live in the Stone Age or whatever, you know. And that's the big problem, is that we probably could have made a bigger difference by, they say, we're not there to nation build. I really think we should have done some more nation building, you know. We should have put up numerous TV stations, satellite TV everywhere. And that way, just for free. You know, here you can have satellite television, although, I don't know, it's complicated. So, but you know, if they're watching reruns of Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley or whatever, you know, Friends, I don't see how it can be anything but beneficial. So, it's not like gonna go, look how these white devils are. They just lay around in luxury while we live in mud huts and caves. I don't think that's what they would do. I think they'd be like fascinated, like everyone else who watches television. They'd be like, you know, hypnotize me now. Yes, America. We love America. We all want to go to America. Which I'm sure they don't sound like that either. I'm just really not making fun to I'm just doing a really bad accent. So I have the video about the mayor. I have videos about the Taliban. I have a video about Palestinians having to destroy their own homes in eastern Jerusalem, which hasn't been reported a whole lot, I don't think. A little bit on the international news. I saw it on the Israeli news. They is too slanted. All the news is going to be way too slanted on this particular subject. The last thing, though, I think I should report from is the Israeli news. Sometimes, because every once in a while you'll hear you know, a voice that's not going with what the mainstream is seeing. You know, it's like, you know, there's a lot of activists in Israel, from what I understand, who are very pro-Palestinian. It's too bad they can't do more, right? So I have that video, and I have a video about Iran's global threat to democracy. And I have a phone caller.
This motherfucker. Hello?
What?
What? You making fun of my people? You making fun of my people? You making fun of my people? You making fun of my accents right now?
No. My friend. 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 I do not try to make fun of your accent. And you do it very much better than I do. So if that is your accent, it's lovely. And I am not making fun of it. I'm simply doing a very, very bad imitation. Not even an imitation. I'm doing a very, very bad accent. I guess you would call it my attempt at Middle Eastern. And then my friend, that's more, you know, Indian Indian? Is that it? Hindu? My friend, have I given you excellent service today? Again, I'm not making fun. It's a South Park episode. I was talking about it last week. Vindaloo Loop. Vindaloo Loop. If you haven't seen it, it's fucking brilliant. You're missing out. I don't know which one it is. Vindaloo Loop. That's the name of it, though. So, where were we? Right. We have videos to play. We're obviously taking phone calls. Happy to talk to anybody. I did not hang up on that gentleman. He hung up on me, which is fine. Many people choose to do that. I've done this for a long time, and I've been hung up more on than almost anybody probably. So, and I love it. That's fine. I don't care. It's not that I don't care, because I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm not trying to scare anybody off. I'd really like to see what has to happen is this giant conversation, right? Where as many people are involved as possible. And in today's world, somehow, one of you brilliant people, I'm sure, could figure this out. And I myself just like having a conversation with, humanity. I don't want to give you guys too much credit, but that's where I stand at. So, now I'm making fun of all of you. So, let's see. Do you want me to play a video? Should we talk more about the Taliban? Should we talk more about Iran's global threat to democracy? How about that? I just don't see Iran as a global threat, right? And the story that I have on that particular video is as big a propaganda piece as you're ever going to see in American news, short of 9/11. So I'll play that for you momentarily because I can. How about that? And we all hate Iran. Iran is the great evil in the world that's trying to take down global democracy. Right? And at least that's what this video says. But I think we should begin at, if no one's going to call, because I would love to talk to you. That's really what the show is about. Not hear me, going on and on. Okay? Which I can do, as many of you know. It's about having conversation. And starting the conversation and hopefully moving the conversation forward. As I said, it's what the world desperately needs. It's the only way to solve all of this. And it should be a really interesting conversation. It should be, if everyone is involved, imagine, and trying to work towards a common goal, which is, let's say, in my opinion, as I've said numerous times, humans are good at certain things, really, really good at certain things. And one of those things that they're really, really good at is growing stuff, right? So what we should really be doing is planting these giant gardens around the world and turning the world green. That should be one of the big priorities, is to make the world green. As I said, humans are very good at growing stuff. So, what?
Oh, you know about them goddamn people out there in the world and shit. Oh. The woke. The woke. You know about the woke?
Yeah, that was a live stream that we played all summer long.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I got some plants growing and shit.
Good.
Michael, down here in SoCal, I've been collecting the rent. You know, times are tough down here in SoCal and stuff, but I just really wanted to call you and give you a really good conversation.
Well, why don't you call back after you get your cough under control?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good now.
Uh-huh.
I'm good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm good. Shit.
Uh-huh.
These
Uh-huh.
people, they don't want to fucking...
Who are you calling these people?
The renters.
Oh,
The
okay.
renters. They don't want to fucking pay the rent. And then I go knock on their door, you know, after fucking smoking 92 fucking cigarettes, and they expect me to have to go over there and fucking pick up a check, and then they never have a fucking check. They never have a fucking check. And then I have to fucking call you and fucking talk about the government and shit and all this fucking shit.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
You don't know how fucking hard life is.
Yeah, I know.
And
You're absolutely right. People keep telling me how hard life is, and I just don't seem to be able to relate with that at all.
Well, if you were a landlord, then you'd fucking be able to stand.
Yeah, I can't be a landlord. I just can't do that. Too much bookkeeping.
Well, maybe you could.
No, too much
You ever
bookkeeping.
watch-
I don't want to spend my life that way, trying to collect rent from fucking people. You know?
You ever watch the Home and Garden channel?
No, I didn't know there was one.
You ever watch like Fixer Upper or some shit?
No. I focus
Yeah,
mostly
me
on politics and cartoons.
Yeah. Me too, dude. That's why I love you.
Okay.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
the landlord.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. Bye, dude.
Oh, man. Okay, so you all deserve better than that. I was trying to get him to go. And again, this isn't the conversation that I'm talking about having. Okay? Again, you saw I didn't kick anybody off the phone. It's just that he doesn't really want to have a conversation. He just wants to kind of, you know, be the background clown, right? Which every show needs. It's just I want to have a conversation. It's fine to have a clown. I don't mind that at all. I like clowns. But I like funny people. And that guy is definitely funny. But I really want to have a conversation. So let's play a video about Biden having no regrets about pulling out the troops from Afghanistan, because there's only going to be 16,000 plus U.S. contractors or paid mercenaries or paid killers. There's only going to be 16,000 plus after all the troops are pulled out. So obviously we're making the big withdrawal. At the same time, chaos is happening. And I don't mean to laugh because it's very tragic. It's that we spent all these trillions of dollars, right? And this is what we get. And then we have a president saying, I have no regrets. Well, you were in the White House how many years now? You know, how come you didn't fight for this when Obama was in there and you were sitting right next to him? You know, how come we had to go through it for another 12 years, right? Hello, caller.
Hi, Michael. How are you doing tonight?
Fine.
Cool. It's really hot up there today?
It's a little bit hot. I put on the swamp cooler and the fan before we turned on all the lights because I was trying to cool down the room a little bit.
Cool. Yeah, it's a little warm. I looked at, the average temperature for August in the Pacific Northwest is 78 degrees. So, it was like 83 degrees this afternoon here where I live. It's a little warm, but, in the next few days it's going to get up to about 100 degrees.
and that is about 20 degrees hotter than it normally is here. So it is kind of an aberration,
Yeah.
and we had another one earlier in the year.
And
like
just a little heads up is that the next few days I will be running the air conditioner and the fan while we're doing the show, because otherwise I just can't do the show. So,
I was talking to a person today. I standard Pacific Northwesterner. I haven't had air conditioning, in the last 30 years. It's like not part of my reality. However, somebody told me a joke today. They were like, yeah, man, like if I was to do anything with like my money and make an investment, I would do HVAC in the Pacific Northwest and start installing air conditioning systems. I'm like, you're fucking right about that.
yeah.
Absolutely. Like lots of buyers,
Yeah.
Well,
The market's just gonna expand and expand and expand.
Which sucks. I mean, I realize that it's important, people, whatever,
Well,
stay cool, but like the amount of energy that it takes
yeah.
for those air conditioners is
Well,
like not cool.
I think
that was a cool thing about where we live, is that we don't use so much energy in the summer, because we were one of the few places, except for New England. I think in New England in upper New England, they don't have air conditioners there.
Yeah, they don't have air conditioners in Hawaii either.
Well, okay, sure. And in Hawaii too. But yeah, I guess people are adjusting to whatever.
It's just all open air there. It's just all open air. It doesn't make sense to run an air conditioner. Every fucking window is open. So it's just about.
In Hawaii?
Yeah. Everything is open air.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's my preference, by the way. I'm a Midwesterner, Mike. Where I was raised, but like when I go to sleep at night, I have this thing where I have to have an open window. I swear to God, if it's like minus 17 degrees below zero, I still fucking crack the window just to have circulation of air in the room.
Yeah,
it's just something that I've always done since I was a kid. I just crack the window so that there's air. More or less. Wow, lots of weird shit happened today, huh? Like the governor of New York resigned over another sex scandal, #MeToo movement, right? It just happened, right? Today?
Yeah.
Right. The thing about that, Mike, is the guy's a sleazebag. I mean, there's no denying, probably all the accusations are real. I'm not even going to argue about that. But what I find fascinating about this is the only time that this card is really played in politics, right, is when there's some ulterior motive at stake. In other words, like something happened on his watch, whether it was the people in the nursing homes who were dying because, they were putting sick people with old people and making a lot of dead people instead of like isolating people. They just put all these people in nursing homes. On his watch, that's a scandal, and murder, a lot of people died. If it's that, it could be like the Jeffrey Epstein connections with Ghislaine Maxwell, this lady who's in jail in Brooklyn. It could be something related to Wall Street. It could be something related to, imagine somebody got to Andrew Cuomo, like a progressive. I'm just saying, right? And they were like, hey, man, you have the opportunity to move forward on this. So let's say you do it, right? And then the party says, no, I don't think you're going to do that. So I think there's something else that happened with Andrew Cuomo. It doesn't have anything to do with him cupping his fucking secretary's breast at a party at his mansion, which I find to be, I'm not going to get into the specifics. I'm just saying it reminds me a lot of like what happened to Al Franken, the senator from Minnesota, and also the play with Eliot Spitzer, the former governor of New York, who was basically a multi-millionaire before he went into politics. He was super rich and accustomed to this lifestyle of like fucking $15,000 call girls, which was his thing. I'm not criticizing the guy, but I'm saying like all this information was available to certain people, and they were able to use it at a particular time against Eliot Spitzer when they wanted to use it. So, with all of that in mind, Mike, I looked at CBS.
And if I could just say real quick, this is what I talk about all the time about them gathering information with a folder with your name on it, with your 12-year-old daughter's name on it, with your 16-year-old son's name on it, and that folder is filled with everything they do on their phone and most of what they do on their computer, and it's this folder that they can pull out whenever they want. And they can put it in front of your son or your daughter and say, how about we show your parents all this stuff, or the media or whatever, or we press charges for all your fucking drug shit, you know? Whatever it is.
He must have really fucked up, Mike. He must have really fucked up. Like, he must have said something like, I want socialized medicine for everyone in New York, or he must have said something crazy like that. And then, I mean, I don't know what happened, or I don't know who he pissed off, or how big the real scandal really was, like this nursing home scandal, for example. But by just dismissing him offhand with a sex scandal, it's very convenient. And getting rid of this asshole at CNN at the same time, just purging them. It's kind of saying a new regime is stepping in. And with that in mind, like the new regime, who is the new regime? This is an excerpt from CBS News. Really quick, I'll be fast. It says this: under New York state law, in the event of a governor's resignation, the lieutenant governor becomes the person in charge. Hochul, this woman, also a Democrat, stayed out of the spotlight during the Attorney General's investigation and declared the governor's behavior as documented in the report as, quote, repulsive and unlawful. Quote, sexual harassment is unacceptable in any workplace and certainly not in public service, she tweeted last week. The Attorney General's investigation has documented repulsive and unlawful behavior by Governor Cuomo towards multiple women. I believe these brave women and admire their courage coming forward. No one is above the law. Following Cuomo's announcement, Hochul, this future governor of New York, said his stepping down was, quote, the right thing to do in the best interest of New Yorkers. As someone who has served at all levels of government and is the next in line of succession, this is the important part, I am prepared to lead as New York's 57th governor, she tweeted. Hochul, 62, has been lieutenant governor since 2015. This is the important part. From 2011 to 2013, she represented New York's 26th district in Congress. She served in Congress for one term, where she served on the House Armed Services Committee and the Homeland Security Committee before losing re-election. So this lady served in Congress, got herself on the Homeland Security committee, didn't even get reelected into fucking Congress, got appointed to be lieutenant governor as a ploy, for like using identity politics as a way to lure people to support you. And now she's going to be the first woman governor of New York State, and Andrew Cuomo and his brother and his father are just like underneath the bus, the crushed bones and blood and flesh of the Cuomo family in the background, as we move forward with a former person who was on the Homeland Security committees for Congress, a Democrat from New York, with this lady. Interesting. Isn't that weird, Mike?
It's all that way. I see everything that way. It's like I keep saying, it's like with the police, they know who the bad people are and they don't do anything about it, which makes them bad too. It's not one bad apple. If it's one bad apple, you can pick it out of the barrel and not lose the whole barrel. These people are willing to sacrifice them.
A rotten bushel is another story altogether. A rotten bushel of apples just stinks.
Yeah.
And you have to throw it in your compost to save your basket. Otherwise, your basket's just going to rot from the apples, and you're really fucked at that point. Totally. So anyway, this lady is going to, and I want to make one other note about the governor in New York, is that remember, after Elliot Spitzer lost his job from fucking call girls in the FBI, like bugging him and all of that, right? After that happened, and he, by the way, was a former prosecutor for the federal government against Wall Street. So Elliot Spitzer didn't serve very long as the governor of New York. And he had said explicitly, I'm going to go after fucking Wall Street. And then all of a sudden this sex scandal brews up and the dude loses his job. Just like that.
Yeah.
But then the next governor of New York is the first African-American governor of New York who is a blind man.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? I mean, they use the same fucking script. They don't deviate from the script for a second. Like, it's all about appealing to your emotions, and you're supposed to feel sympathy, and for like all women have now made an achievement because the 57th governor of New York is a woman, even though she's a corporate CIA creep, right? And likewise, the other person who was the lieutenant governor appointed to become governor of New York, the first black governor of New York, we feel great about that, right? Like an African American has an opportunity to be the governor of New York, despite the fact that he's a party politician who's like part of the machine of Democratic politics, and is totally as insincere as any white politician. So there was nothing really gained except for optics. So they're going to exploit this for like this hashtag Me Too, and any fucker who has ever like had a disagreement with a woman, you know, or multiple women, you know, might have a problem in the future. That's a fact.
Hey Chris, it's good to hear from you. I gotta take a break for a minute. It's way too hot. I gotta have to turn on the air conditioning for a minute.
Yeah, turn it on. I want to say one last thing though. Nuclear war is a horrible thing, and we've known this. Like, that's the whole basis of American foreign policy: mutual assured destruction. We've known this for a long time. Anybody who starts a nuclear war is going to destroy civilization as we know it. It's just, we've known this for a long time, and we've been extremely lucky that we haven't fucking destroyed the planet since 1945. The only country to ever use nuclear weapons is the United States. And I'll leave it at that, Mike. You have a great night.
Okay, thanks for calling. All right, so that's Chris from Olympia. So listen, the thing about nuclear war being abhorrent and it being just as evil as it gets, that's war. War is just as evil as it gets. Right now, there's war going on around the world, and the reason that there's war going on around the world is because evil people make money from it. That's 100% the reason that war is going on around the world. That's why there's nuclear weapons, because somebody made a lot of money off of it and makes a lot of money continuing to maintain it. Which, you know, it's all, you know, you can't use a nuclear weapon at this point. They're gigantic. From what I understand, 4 strategically placed nuclear weapons will drive the world into nuclear winter for hundreds of years, I think. That's from what I understand. So, killing basically everything on the planet. Woo! Who wants to be the guy that pushes that button? Not me, thank you very much. I'm going to play a quick video about Biden not regretting, every time I say it, Biden not regretting the phone rings. Don't ring the phone! Okay, until I get back. I need to go. I got to get something cool to drink. It's getting hot up here. And I will play a video for you now, and I'll be right back.
President Biden said today he doesn't regret his decision to withdraw US troops from Afghanistan, even as tonight the Taliban claim to have taken control of 2 more provincial capitals. The US envoy for Afghanistan has been sent to Qatar for emergency talks with the Taliban as a humanitarian crisis is beginning to unfold, with Afghans fleeing the fighting. We'll have more on the refugees in a moment, but first, Caroline Hawley has the very latest.
The aftermath of the battle for Kunduz, the northern city captured by the Taliban on Sunday, the terrifying cost of urban warfare. The UN and other aid agencies are now growing increasingly alarmed at the mounting toll it's taking. Civilians have fled the Taliban advances in their tens of thousands. Many have reached the relative safety of the capital, Kabul.
Those who have been displaced are in a very bad and frustrating situation, but those in the government have not sent a representative here to help.
There's little comfort for them here, but they've left far worse behind.
People are living in fear and dread. Women are already being, killed and shot for breaching rules that have been imposed on what they can wear and on where they can move without a male escort. It's time for the international community to prioritize peace in Afghanistan.
Securing a ceasefire is the aim of these talks taking place in the Qatari capital Doha over the next few days. The US Special Representative for Afghanistan, Zelle Khalilzad, hopes to persuade the Taliban to halt their offensive, started after foreign troops began to withdraw in May. Afghan government forces are trying to repel the advances, but it's the Taliban who have the momentum now and very little incentive to stop. Caroline Hawley, BBC News.
You heard Caroline mention those who are fleeing the violence, and many are heading across Iran to Turkey. For a country already hosting millions of refugees from Syria, the situation is causing alarm. From eastern Turkey, Mahmut Hamsiki has this report.
Escape from the Taliban. As we arrived in this border area, we met hundreds of Afghans fleeing war. Many have traveled hundreds of miles across Iran. For some, the journey is all too much. Their entire existence packed into bags. They are exhausted under the bright sun. Peride came here with her 4 children. She sold her house to raise enough cash for the journey. But after being robbed, she now finds herself penniless.
I want a nice life for my children. I want a quiet life. I want them to be educated to succeed in their life. Afghanistan is in a bad situation. There's a war. The father of my children is uneducated. He can't do anything. I want my children to succeed and save themselves.
Peride's husband says they want to start a new life in Turkey.
We've been on the road for 18 days. We were brought and left here. We walked 4 or 5 days. And the children are all ill. Police chase us and we escape. There are many problems like this. What should we do? And where should we go?
The security services are patrolling this entire border area, aiming to stop migrants from reaching big cities like Istanbul in the west. Turkey is already struggling with a massive refugee population. As night falls, many of the migrants make it to the nearby city. Dozens of men find shelter under a nearby bridge. It's there where we find Mohammed. As he tells us, he lost his wife and daughter on the journey. He holds his son tight.
With my son, daughter and wife, we went to Iran to cross the border, but we came into a police ambush. The border guards fired at us. I lost track of my wife and my daughter. I continued the journey with my only son. I came to Turkey to go to Greece, but I don't know where my wife and daughter are.
As these migrants continue their journey, the UN and other agencies are warning of a worsening humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, which will mean more people joining this route. Mahmut Hamsici, BBC News, Eastern Turkey.
Brought to you by your tax dollars. Again, how many trillions of dollars did we spend there? And now the Taliban is stronger than ever. Not only are they stronger than ever, meaning they have more weapons than they could have ever dreamed of having, paid for with your tax dollars, because America's bailing out of there, right? They're getting out as quickly as they can, with their tail between their legs, by the way. And tons and tons of weapons are left behind. This is the way it always worked. And the Taliban scoops all those up, and then they are more armed than they've ever been. And not only that, they just kicked the only superpower, the world's only superpower's ass. They just kicked the world's only superpower's ass. The Taliban. I mean, how can you be more pumped up than that? How can you make you feel like you're stronger than that? You just kicked the military-industrial complex asses, right? Why are we paying the military-industrial complex trillions and trillions of dollars if they can't fucking beat people living in caves and mud huts, quote unquote? How is it worth our money? How much money are the people in the Pentagon getting paid? How much is their retirement, right? How many deaths are they responsible for because they're not able to talk about the truth? You know, they're not able, they just stand there and say, nope, we're a soldier. We do what we're told. My ass. Not if you're in the top ranks, you know, if you're like in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, right? You're not just a soldier, okay? You're the one who makes the plans for the soldiers. And if you say, nah, we're not going to war there because it'll break our country. Well, it'll break their country, and it'll break our country when the Taliban kicks us out of their country with their tail between our legs, right? So the Taliban is looking stronger than ever, and it's not just that they're stronger than ever, it's that they got this chip on their shoulder, right? Not only did they just kick the world's only superpower's ass, the world's only, but they also have this giant chip on their shoulder about people attacking them. Because from what I understand, for a long, long time, people have been fighting over that piece of real estate, right? So that's why you can't kick anybody's ass there. It's called, the nickname of Afghanistan is like killer of empires or something like that, because every big empire somehow needs to go through Afghanistan. And it's been very, very, very bad for our country, the United States. And it's really unfortunate that we don't have better priorities than going to fight people living in caves and mud huts, quote unquote, not my words. Okay? The Pentagon, the big mighty military industrial complex that we spend trillions and trillions of dollars on, had to go and fight people living in caves and mud huts. This is the most important thing that we can do with all the United States you know, integrity. It's, you know, we're supposed to be the shiny beacon in the world, right? That guides. They're supposed to be guiding humans and countries into the 21st century. And all we've done since we began the 21st century is make and continue wars based on lies. How much could all of that money done for our country? You know, I mean, think of the infrastructure project we could really be making happen if it wasn't all about the infrastructure of the military, because they just scooped the top 50% right off. This is ours. You know, fuck you people. You can have the crumbs that's left. You know, we're all the people, they're the military, they get half the money. And they do what they want. And then a bunch of it goes to cops, and a bunch of it goes to the whole bureaucracy. And we just get fucked. So, it's not so much that we get fucked. I don't feel fucked, but I live my life like there's no tomorrow. So I don't feel so fucked. You know, I'm good right here in this moment. I have my marijuana, and I have my beautiful babies, and you know, it could be a lot worse. So, but the whole country, you know, the country as a whole, I have big concerns, and I want better for everyone. I don't want this. I'm just tired of our civilization leading down this tunnel of death and despair, right? I want our country to be the shiny beacon in the world, boldly leading humanity into the 21st century, right? I mean, I want that. I want that. That's who I want our country to be. Do you think that's who our country is? And with all this military-industrial complex that just keeps expanding and getting bigger and bigger, how far off is a big world war again? I mean, obviously, the way this military-industrial complex sees things is that they make a giant profit off of this. So the bigger the war, the more the profit, right? And basically the way I see things where we're at right now is this ramping up of the war machine, right? First it was Afghanistan, right? Afghanistan, people living in mud huts and caves, which this giant military industrial complex couldn't kick their asses after 20 years. Now they're running out of there with their tails between their legs. That being said, ramping up the military, industrial machine, right? The next move is to misplace 4 million people in Iraq and murder another million. And it may be 10 million that have been, lost their homes and had to go and move into refugee camps and horrible situations. Again, all of our tax dollars going to spread death and despair around the world, right? But that's because we have to ramp up the military-industrial complex, because we have to get ready for the big war, right? Because we can't just go from, dead stop, right? No wars, no nothing. We've had peace for 20 years. We can't just go from there to, we got a world war going on, we have to have all this stuff right now. We can't do that, right? So what they do is they start a little war, then they start a little bigger war, then they expand their little bigger war, right? With from Iraq into Syria, into Libya, and so many other places around the world, in Africa and other places, right? And then, so what I'm saying is, you're ramping up this military industrial complex to be ready for this world war, and it's not just a matter of making sure you have enough weapons, right? You have to have places to store all these weapons, and you have to have the ability to move them where they need to be after they use up all the ones that they already have, right? So first you got to get the machine ramped up, and then there's this part of infrastructure and such, and the latest technology, of course. And so this is what I see happening, and this is what the question is really about, is because I don't see any chance in the world of really of people surviving a world war. And it's not so much because of nuclear weapons, like Chris was saying. That's like an end game scenario. I see it much more like a Wuhan laboratory leak, something much more like that. So and because obviously that can affect the whole world, and obviously, if you have a thing like this and you're, I don't know why laboratories like this exist, okay? But if you have a thing like that, and you think it's secure because you can go in and out of it, it's no big deal, right? What happens is if a big old 500-pound bomb drops on top of it, and then another 500-pound bomb, and then another one, is it still secure? This is what I'm saying. Or does all that stuff start to spread everywhere? So I don't understand why these laboratories exist. I think it's a disgusting use of anyone's money. Anyone that would want something like this to create, like this COVID thing, if it was created in the Wuhan laboratory, as many people are pointing to, if it was, somebody spent money developing this thing that could affect the whole world at the snap of a finger, supposedly. How is that good for the world? Who is that good for? You know? I would say, again, who benefits? But I don't see, although I do see people benefiting, I just don't see how this is the smartest thing. And these labs, from what I understand, are all over the world, right? So I don't see nuclear weapons as really the problem. And that's kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing, right? Either way, I know you can make it. All you have to do is buy these pre-packaged meals and store them in this locker that we'll be happy to sell you. And you'll be set. You'll be ready for the apocalypse. You know, that was one of the things that always got me about Alex Jones and people like Alex Jones who, I don't want to say spread conspiracy, and I'm not trying to say that they spread fear. At the same time, I would see what they would advertise, and a lot of what they would advertise is these survival meals and stuff like Buy Gold. You know, it's all this like survival stuff. You know, MOXY News has never done anything like that. And because that would be playing to your fears. You know, I don't have this question about can humans survive World War III. For me, I'm not trying to play on your fears when I talk about these laboratories being all over the world. What I'm trying to do is have this conversation about why are we funding this to be happening? This thing that can make everyone in the world sick. Why would we fund something? Who would make something like that? Who on earth thinks that this is a good plan? Let's make something that overnight can make the whole world fucking sick. Oh, and we'll do it with U.S. tax dollars. How about that? You know, why, what kind of sick human being could possibly think that's a good thing? You know, and I get it, you know, but it's not just that. That's just one aspect of it. Like I keep saying, the military-industrial complex. You have to ask yourself if laboratories like this are part of the military-industrial complex, which, you know, I would think some of them are, right? So if laboratories like this are part of the military-industrial complex, then the military-industrial complex, who doesn't make things that they're not planning on using, because where's the money in that? You know, they're seeing this as a weapon that can be used. Someone's seeing this as a weapon that can be used. This is the only reason stuff like this could possibly exist, right? Something so dangerous. You know, I hear a lot of these rich people, these super rich people, have like silos. You know, do you hear this? Like where they're going to go and live during the apocalypse, after the apocalypse. So I don't know if that's true. Sounds more like science fiction to me. But like Jeff Bezos, right? When he made $100 billion last year, right? $100 billion. If you have $100 billion, you know, I mean, I would try and be saving the orcas and the manatees, but somebody like Jeff Bezos, who is currently building a $500 million second yacht, because his first, $500 million yacht doesn't have a helicopter pad, and the girl that he's dating right now is a helicopter pilot, so we got to have a helicopter pad. We better build another yacht. I would think that if someone could really build a silo for someone like Jeff Bezos. He would probably think that's a pretty good idea. Get on that right now. I don't know. You know, we got a helicopter, we can get out of here. You guys remember the first Dawn of the Dead movie? Where it was like, I don't know what year it was, 1977, 78, 76, I'm not sure. But the people escaped, all the zombies, they escaped it in a helicopter, right? And they were looking for a safe place to land where there wasn't a bazillion zombies everywhere. Dawn of the Dead, the original one. And like 1977, I think. Might be earlier than that. So they're looking for a place to land, and they decide to land on this mall, right, like a shopping mall, and then they find themselves a way into the mall, and they create this whole area where the zombies can't get in, and then they clean all the zombies out, and blah blah blah. But I see these people as you know, like Jeff Bezos. Not that there's a bunch of people like Jeff Bezos, but and I'm sure he tells people that all the time. But I think that, you know, a silo probably sounds like a really good idea. Oh, we better get a couple of those. How much they cost? $10 billion? No problem. Let's get on that, huh? It is warming up here in Seattle. So, what should we do next? Go catch that Pikachu. He's pretty fast. And he's a little touchy. Kind of sketchy. Let's see. I have more videos. I know. I'll play the video about well, I posted a video earlier of the Seattle mayor talking about that, or being asked repeatedly if she would fire the cops who didn't get fully vaccinated by the date that the Seattle mayor has said all cops have to be fully vaccinated by. And she said, well, no. No, she wouldn't answer the question. She would ask the question like 4 times and she refused to answer the question, which I found very interesting. And again, police officers being the pillars of our community, you have to remember this, and they're going, yeah, that's not going to happen with the vaccine. So, and they're, again, cops are supposed to be the ones setting the example. They're the men in blue. They're there to protect you. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing something interesting here. I don't know if the rest of you are, but I wanted to play that video, even though I posted it earlier, because it didn't seem like very many saw it, and I wanted to share it just in case any of you didn't see it. I wanted to make sure I shared it with you. I'm going to go and refresh my juice here, and I'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in.
Meantime, a similar mandate applies for employees with King County and the city of Seattle. Now, according to Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin, city workers must get the COVID vaccine before October 18th or lose their jobs.
But at a time of low police staffing and rising crime in our area, would the mayor really fire officers? K13's Brandy Cruz pressed her on that today.
Do you mean to tell me that come October the 18th, you will fire Seattle police officers who do not have a vaccine?
My best, what I believe is going to happen is most police officers are going to get this vaccination.
But if they don't,
what I've seen and see, you know, Brandy, you can have your hypothesis. Mine is the opposite of yours. Mine is that I've seen in the last year, Seattle Police Department is working harder than it's ever worked under some of the most difficult circumstances to serve the public, and they do it at great risk to themselves. And so I believe that people, when faced with the choice on, is this important to the community, are going to make the right decision. And people can take, you know, any extreme example they want and say, but what about this? Would you do it? I really believe that people are going to respond. And the basis for that is because they have so far. Every time we've asked people to do the hard things in this city, they've stepped up and done it.
Respectfully, it's not an extreme thing for me to say, are you going to fire SPD officers on October 18th? That is what you have put forward, that get a vaccine or you might not have a job on October the 18th. And it's also not a hypothesis. I have emails from Seattle police officers saying, I will not get the vaccine. I am willing to lose my job. So again, come October 18th, for SPD officers who decide they are not willing to get the vaccine, will they lose their jobs?
It is your hypothesis, Brandy, because
it's not a hypothesis. I have emails from officers saying, I will not get it.
Well, I've heard officers say, now that I realize the danger, I will get it. So we'll see what they do. We've got till October. And I believe the police officers that I know, that I've talked to, that I've worked with over a career, they believe in service. And those people will step up and do the right thing. I truly believe they will. And look, it's a different thing in some ways, but we had these same debates when I was a child about seatbelts. People said over and over again, it's my right not to drive without a seatbelt. And we as a society decided no, because you don't just jeopardize yourself, you could jeopardize other people. You've got highway patrol, you've got first aid that has to come. The same with high speeds. People still say, if I want to drive 100 miles an hour, I should be able to do it.
Madam Mayor, a seatbelt is not injected into your body. And again, I have the COVID vaccine. I had no problem getting the COVID vaccine, but it's not my job to sit here and to praise the decisions that you make. It's my job to challenge them. And I'll go back to the question before. It is not a hypothesis for me to say that officers aren't going to get the vaccine. I am staring at an email from an SPD officer who says they will not get the vaccine. That is a fact. I know this officer. So when I ask you, will you fire officers who don't get the vaccine by October 18th? What is your answer to that, ma'am?
I don't believe I'm going to be put in that position because I believe officers will get the vaccine.
More people have been murdered in your city this summer than have died of COVID-19. More people have been shot and killed in your city this summer than have died of COVID-19. Is your focus on the wrong thing right now?
I'm focused on both. That's my job as mayor. But, I think we all agree, Brandy, these last 18 months, what this virus has done to our society and our city and our country, none of us want to repeat it and none of us want to go backward. It's been too long and too hard for us to go back now. And we are seeing, right now it's the Delta variant, but we're seeing new variants being bred in the Southern Hemisphere. And as those come and people are more susceptible, they will come. And the best protection we have against this is this vaccine.
That last thing I heard her say right at the end of that video, she said there are more variants on the way. That's what I heard her say, standing out there. And I thought it was, it's just unbelievable she wouldn't answer the question, Obviously, that means she's not going to fire the cops because she said she would, but if she won't answer the question, then she's not going to, right? It's just this threat with nothing to back it up. So, and that's, they're not going to make the cops do anything, They're going to ask the cops to do it. The cops don't want to do it, right? But I find it really interesting, the discussion. Because, like I keep saying, trying to have the discussion, that these police officers are saying, no. And they're saying, we don't care if it costs us our job. That's what Brandy was saying. Brandy is the host of that show. We don't care. And that's how I am too. I don't care if I don't care what it costs me. Okay, it's my body, my choice, my life. And you can say, oh, there's more variants on the way and it's all because of people like you. Well, say that about the cops, okay? Because, I'm not a cop. And there's a lot more of them and they've been ordered to do this and they're saying they're not going to. And the cops come into contact with people all day, every day, right? So, cops come in contact with people. I don't do that. I mean, I say hi to my neighbors and stuff. You know, we go to the store once in a while. But I'm not macking on everybody I come across or anything, unfortunately. So, let's see. Again, this call-in show, if you want to call, the number's right there on the screen, 805-669-6397, 805-MOX News. Thanks so much for tuning in, because it's always better when you're here. It makes the conversation much more interesting, you know, for the more people that are involved. Like I keep saying, we have to have this giant fucking conversation with as many people involved as possible of the most important things we can possibly imagine. And it needs to happen right away. And it needs to be smarter people than myself that organize it. So I hope you're listening. Hello, caller.
Yo, what up? This is Leroy. I'm over here at the motherfucking Sturgis.
Love Sturgis.
Where you at? Where the fuck are you at? I'm at Sturgis right now. My homies.
Lucky. Sturgis looks awesome, dude. I can't believe how many people are there.
Shit. Oh, yeah. The fucking Sturgis is off the hook right now.
It sure looks like it.
You don't even know where you're at until you're at Sturgis. Yeah.
They don't have legal. They don't have legal weed there, right?
Nobody gives a fuck about that.
Oh.
Nobody gives a.
What does that mean?
You can have everything's legal.
Okay, that's what I thought. Everything, baby. Everything.
Excuse me. Sir, that was rude. We still have proper etiquette over at Sturgis. Just saying. We have morals over here at fucking Sturgis.
I would really like to be there. It looks awesome.
Dude, I got my bitch on the back of the motorcycle. She loves it when I say that. God damn. We're living it up, motherfucker.
Nice.
What are you doing?
Smoking
what
dad.
What do you got?
Huh?
You riding a motorcycle right now?
What?
You riding a motherfucking motorcycle right now?
No.
You gotta get your ass on a motorcycle.
No.
Right now. Get your ass down to Sturgis.
I don't want that much responsibility. I don't want to drive. It really
I didn't want it either.
It really harshes my buzz, man. Driving really harshes my buzz.
Fucking this goddamn bitch. She was like, I don't date anyone without a goddamn Harley. And I was like, all right, bitch, fine. I'll do it. God damn it. You're rough. Over here. This fucking Sturgis hanging out on the road.
Right on. Well,
like we're parked on the road and everybody's hanging out.
Excellent.
You got your number.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you're all over the fucking internet, dude. That's pretty cool, dude. That's what we like over here at Sturgis, motherfucker.
All right. Well, enjoy. Have a great one. I'm jealous.
You too. Fucking pick up some food. Fucking drink a beer. Fucking do what you do. That's what we do over here at Sturgis.
Okay.
Those are bitches.
All right.
All right.
Have fun. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay.
I love you.
At Sturgis. At Sturgis. Actually, Sturgis looks freaking awesome this year. Freaking awesome. I can't imagine how much fun that'd be. And I love it when he said, everything is legal. That's what I always said. When I become president, I'm legalizing everything. Because I'm tired of this police state, you know. And we could do so much better without the laws. Without all these fucked up laws, you know. It would be a much simpler, happier life. Much freer life. So, I'm legalizing everything when I become president. So you know. Where'd my Mike Hawk for President postcards go? I go find some. All right. I have a video here about Iran's threat to global democracy. Wait a second. Yeah, Iran's threat to global democracy. I have never seen a more perfect piece of propaganda. That's not true. But this is what these mainstream media people do best, is look you in the eyes and lie about every single word they say. It's I think it's kind of like somehow insanity. Like, if I was to look at you and every single word that I said was a lie, over and over and over, all day, every day, I mean, how fucked up of a person must I be, right? It's the same way with our country, you know. Here's what we do: we lie about everything, and then we make war and death and despair. You know, we leave a trail of death and despair around the world, and then we blame Iran, right? So I want to play this video about Iran's threat to global democracy, because I thought it was really important for you guys to hear this stuff. I apologize. You lovely people. You know, I hate using that phrase, you guys. I really don't like that one. I apologize for using it way more than you deserve. So, Iran's threat to global democracy. Very important video, especially during this conversation. Because again, like I'm saying, they're warming up for World War III. They're setting the stage, so to speak. I should have used that phrase before. They're setting the stage for it. And now the next step in the stage seems to be Iran, which I thought was why we were in Afghanistan and Iraq, was to kind of surround Iran, you know. So who knows exactly what's been set up, but this is where we're at, and I thought you should see this video. I'll be right back.
In the last 6 months, the Ayatollah has declared open season on the United States and our interests. The Iranians have attacked American forces repeatedly and killed a U.S. military contractor. They have tried to conduct terrorism on U.S. soil, even going so far as attempting kidnapping of an American journalist on American soil, sending an Iranian kidnap team to our country.
This week, leaders in Israel warned that mounting tensions with Iran may lead to military action, that words are no longer enough when dealing with that regime. But words do have power. Sometimes the written and spoken word presents such a threat to those in power that they try to silence the voices. MOXY is no stranger to threats from the regime in Tehran. Iranian officials have harassed her parents. They forced her sister to denounce her on Iranian television, and they sentenced her brother to 8 years in prison for what they call crimes against the regime. But she will not be silenced. Late last year, the FBI uncovered a plan to kidnap MOXY from New York City and take her by speedboat to Iranian ally Venezuela. It sounds like something from the movies or spy novels, but it was and is very real for her. Joining us is journalist and activist and a voice for millions of people living under oppressive regimes, MOXY Alinejad. MOXY, how are you?
I'm trying to be good. I want to actually start by saying that my brother just got released from prison conditionally. You know, he didn't do any crime. They let him free conditionally. And when I shared this news online, the mothers of those people who got killed, they came to me and they actually posted a comment saying that I wish our sons were alive and were in prison and today we could hug them. This is the true nature of Iran. You cannot even be happy when your own brother gets released from prison.
And that is exactly what I want you to start by giving our viewers a glimpse of what life in Iran, especially for women, is like.
Okay, if you want to, I want to just make it simple for you. As a woman, like this, if I sit like this with my hair, with my dress code, they see me like a criminal. So in the eyes of our government in Iran, every single woman, free woman, is like a master criminal. Imagine you walk unveiled, you sing solo, you dance, you actually want to just enter a stadium. You are like a criminal. And that is why I created a campaign to give voice to voiceless people inside Iran who are bravely challenging this ISIS-minded government by filming morality police, by practicing their civil disobedience. And I have to say that the regime actually is a barbaric regime, but women are not going to give up their fight against this regime.
Well, you strike me as somebody that is not afraid of Iran, and you're not afraid of the West. So I'm going to ask you a tough question. What should the West be doing, or what has the West not done to help the Iranian people?
That's a very good question. Look, a lot of time I just say this, but I don't see like any serious action. I'm going to just give you an example. When the activist from Belarus was actually, they stopped the airplane and they actually arrested him, what the West did, the West took a strong action. When they assassinated a Russian journalist or activist in the UK, the EU took a strong action. And that is what I want. Right now that I'm talking to you, it's not just about me. The Iranian regime actually challenged the U.S. authorities on U.S. soil, and I'm not the first person, I'm not going to be the last one until this regime is in power. Today that I'm talking to you, let me just make it clear. 500 people died of corona. And yesterday, another 500. And guess why? Because the same regime do not care about the life of its own people. The supreme leader of the Islamic Republic said that we should ban the vaccine from America and the UK. And we've been told by the former president of Iran that the officials, all of them, they have been vaccinated with Pfizer. And this is not even strange for us, because our government always say death to America, but they send all their children here in America. One of them is the vice president of Iran. She was actually part of the hostage taking. They took the U.S. diplomat hostage 40 years ago, and now her son lives in America. That breaks my heart, that why the U.S. government, why they don't take a strong action while they were trying to kidnap me here, why they killing people in Khuzestan province, why they beating up women in the street just because of walking unveiled. The U.S. and the Western government only, desperate to get a deal with such a regime. That breaks my heart.
Well, MOXY, I'm going to encourage people to go research what happened to you. But as I was researching you, it struck me that you would rather advocate for others than yourself. So, yes, the Iranian regime tried to kidnap you and take you to Venezuela. But my sense, having researched you, is that you would rather talk about the others that are under oppression than talk about yourself. And so, one final question. We only got a couple of seconds.
This is my job. This is my job. I'm not going to give up my fight.
Well, quick question, quick answer. What makes you keep going? Because lots of people would give up.
That's a very good question. The mothers in Iran whose children got killed in Iran protests, they got beaten up in the street. I am their voices. As far as they're fighting, I'm going to fight.
Well, thank you for fighting. And again, I encourage our viewers to go look at what happened to you personally. But more importantly, look at what is happening to the people, and especially women, that live under the tyrannical Iranian regime. Thank you, MOXY, for joining us tonight.
I would urge you to go and look under the tyrannical regime of what happens to women also. And I want you to maybe, if you can, remember back to the beginning of that video where Trey first started talking, Trey Gowdy, and he said Israel is telling the United States that talking with Iran is no longer an option, or something to that effect. It's not enough. We got to take Israel. We got to take Iran out. And then that woman was like, they keep chanting death to America, death to America. I have to cut that part of the video out and like repeat it. Death to America, death to America, death to America. And by the way, I made a video last night. What video did I make? When I got off the show, when I got done with the show, I made a video about, let's see, I'll come back to it. I want to have a bong hit. If anyone would like to join me in a bong hit, I will be doing that momentarily. Or if you actually do join me. What was the video I made last night? Oh, the more than 99.9999999. Did I play that video for you guys? I don't think I did. I mean, I played the one video, but I didn't do the 99999 part. Good stuff. I had one right before the show. I have to tell you, that's why I've waited so long into the show to take a puff with you guys, which I usually try and do early in the show. But I had one right before the show. I was like, at like 4 o'clock, I was like, oh man, I want a bong hit. And I was like, you don't need a bong hit. These brownies are stronger than the last brownies, Davey. And and I was like, okay, I'm not going to have a bong hit. And then like a half hour later, I was like, I want a bong hit. Like, no, you're good. And then finally at 6:30, I'm like, I'm not going to take a damn bong hit. And I was still good, but I wanted one real bad. And I'd wanted one for some time. So like, fine, have a bong hit. You've been a good boy. You can have a bong hit. And you can have one. And you can have one. And you can have one. Everybody have a bong hit. Because it's good for you. Don't listen to me because it's bad for you. I don't know. I don't know if listening to me is bad for you or not. And it's not something I'm going to dwell on. Because I'm too busy to keep second questioning myself. If I'm going to come out here and do this, I'm not going to do it second questioning, whether the discussion about World War III and whether humanity can survive, and the reasons that I see that we're already in World War III or building up to World War III is because, infrastructure and such. And I'm not trying to make anybody crazy like me. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to start a damn conversation because this is a really important conversation. And I don't think I'm going to be the center of it. I don't think that it's already been had. I'm sorry. I don't think that we're going to be the first ones to have the conversation. What I'm hoping is that other people will begin to be part of the conversation, not necessarily with us, but around the world, and the time is now, We need to have this talk. And again, what I see that we're really missing out on is that what humans do well is they can garden. They're really good at gardening, right? They can grow stuff, and this is what we should be doing. We should be turning the earth green, because we can, and it would seem like it would help a lot of the issues that we're having. Maybe instead of spending all this money on creating death and despair, we could do something that could change the earth in a positive way. I would think, with trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to make stuff happen, I would think we could do one or two positive things. I would think. Probably just me, right? Although I don't believe that. If I did think it was just me, what would be the point in having a conversation or starting a conversation, right? It would be meaningless because it's just me who understands what it is I'm trying to have a conversation about. Because I'm the only one. I'm the only one. The wonderful thing about Tigger is I'm the only one. So I guess before I break out into Winnie the Pooh songs, I loved Winnie the Pooh for whatever reason that I don't really understand. I think it's probably because it's somewhat maybe, kind of philosophical, like understanding the world a little better, as opposed to just, cartoonish eyes popping out and whatever else. Because Winnie the Pooh is always like, dum, 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 dum. I guess that's kind of how I get through life. So maybe that's why I enjoyed Winnie the Pooh, because he inspired me in some way. Just like Pepe Le Pew and Bugs Bunny. They were, Pepe Le Pew and Bugs Bunny were heroes of mine. Well, Bugs Bunny for sure, and Pepe Le Pew was a big influence in my life. So you have been warned, ladies. So I have, I have one more. Did I play the one about the Palestinians? I did not play the video about the Palestinians. Are you kidding me? Well, we're going to have to play the video about the Palestinians because because the Palestinians are being forced to tear down their own homes that they built because some judge ruled that it was illegal for them to build there in the first place, and if they don't tear it down, they're going to get some big fucking bill to tear the thing down. And it's just, it's like, oh, you have no right to build here. Israelis telling people you have no right to build here. Ever hear of occupied West Bank, right? You have no right to build here. You have zero right to build there. And you don't just build a home, you build settlements. Illegal settlements. You build settlements. Illegal settlements. Illegal settlements. And and now you want to tell these Palestinian people, these Palestinian families, that they have no right to build in Eastern Jerusalem, East Jerusalem. So I thought that was an important video. I'm going to play it for you now, and I'll be right back. It's a short one, but this is where we're at. It's like, it's this crazy world where empathy doesn't really exist anymore. And it's not that it should exist, it's that it should be the big priority in the world. The big priority for civilized people is first empathy, right? I feel you. I have some understanding of why you are upset. I'm going to play the Palestinians tearing down their own homes now.
Well, let's turn to East Jerusalem now, where a number of Palestinian families have been told they must leave their homes as soon as this weekend. Israeli authorities say they never had permission to build there in the first place. And while the eviction and demolition orders aren't expected immediately, people living in the Silwan area told the BBC the government is stepping up efforts to force them out. Jenny Hill reports.
It's their own home, but they're tearing it down. Dangerous work. But the Dajani family told us they've no choice. The Israeli authorities say they built this illegally, so they and their house have to go.
As you can see, as a family, we're demolishing our house with our bare hands. It's not easy for anyone to knock down his house with his own hands.
But scores of people living in one part of East Jerusalem fear they'll have to do exactly that. Right outside the old city walls, the district of Silwan. 9 years ago, Mohammed built a home here for his family. But Israel says he and many of his Palestinian neighbours had no right to do so. He's been told to leave.
This is a holy, blessed land. We won't go. They're putting pressure on us to leave Silwan, but we'll stay until our last breath. Even if they demolish the house, I'll rent another one and I'll stay here in Jerusalem.
We're not telling scores of families that the houses are going to be knocked down. We're telling scores of families, here's where you can build, here's where you couldn't build. And you're right that many people built illegally because permits were very hard to get. That has changed. Rome wasn't built in a day. We are really narrowing the gaps.
This is a battle for sacred ground. A few Jewish families live among the Palestinians here, with security provided by the State of Israel.
The heart and soul of the Jewish people is here in Jerusalem.
This man wants to see more Jewish families moving into Silwan.
This is the synagogue we came in, of course.
His organisation recently claimed back this old synagogue complex.
The prophets spoke 2,000 years ago that we were going to come back here. Anyone who wants to live in the Jewish state for Jewish people, 100%. I said it before and I'll say it again. I'll put the blue and white carpet, I'll roll it out in front of them, with pleasure. But the second he wants to kill me, that type of Arab is not welcome in this Jewish homeland.
The dispute over this valley has been going on for decades, and in truth there's little hope of resolution. All the new Israeli government can do is try to stop it escalating into serious violence. The Dajani family worked through the night to destroy their house in a city divided over how to build its future. Jenny Hill, BBC News, Jerusalem.
You hear what that guy said? He said, that kind of Arab is not welcome in Jerusalem, right? This is a whites only community. That type of Arab, not welcome. Oh, the Jewish homeland. Is that what he said? Not welcome in the Jewish homeland. That's what he said. That type of Arab is not welcome in the Jewish homeland. And I see, these Palestinian people, and they're just being savaged. Their families are just being wiped out of, their family trees are just being wiped out of existence, Those people don't exist anymore. And it's horrible, horrible, horrible. And again, instead of doing something about it, if there was anybody else in the world, if this is how, let's see, Ireland was being treated, like it was some kind of a prison camp, the whole world would be in revolt. They'd be standing up and saying, this can't continue, I think. I'm not sure. I actually not sure if that's the circumstances, but I would think, that people would go to help them. It would be so easy to help the Palestinians. If you were President of the United States, it would be the easiest thing in the world to help the Palestinians. All you have to do is take one of your aircraft carriers and roll it right up off the coast of Gaza, and you say, the blockade ends today. You know, because there's this blockade. They can't bring anything into that area because if you do, the Israeli ships will blow you up. And they also can't go outside that area and go fishing to feed their families, which is, again, just disgusting. It's like crimes against humanity, right? So why wouldn't someone that has the power to want to end that? So if I was president, that's the first thing I would do. I would roll an aircraft carrier right up to off the coast of Gaza with a few support ships, and I would say the blockade ends today. And we'll see just what a good friend Israel is, I believe, at that point. Which would be very interesting to find out, wouldn't it? To actually know for sure what kind of friend Israel is to the United States. I'd really like to know. And I think that would be one of the best ways to find out. And I'm looking forward to that day. Not that it's going to come anytime soon. That doesn't mean I can't look forward to it. You know, because I'm a dreamer. Okay, so where were we? Right, we were at Ocean Shores. We went to Ocean Shores, which is this drone video, 2 weekends ago. And me and the dogs walked around the beach while Sam and Craig flew their drones. So it was really cool. And I'm really glad we went. Even though I stepped on a jellyfish, but that didn't slow me down one bit. You can count on it. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mark.
Hey.
How's it going?
Okay, how about you?
I'm good. I'm over here in Bellevue, so just enjoying the calm weather for now, I guess.
You sound kind of wore out. Are you all like, you work all day or something?
Pretty much. I work as an accountant. So
yeah, so you're back from Eastern Washington from visiting your mom?
Yeah, it's just we just close in the month. You know, like every month you have to close for in an accounting department and stuff. So I'm in the middle of it. But yeah, I think Israel it is our friend. He really cares about us.
That's funny, Manny.
No, I'm really serious though. They're the chosen people. They're the chosen
Yeah,
people.
I just look, dude. That's like saying, white people are the chosen people. Okay, it's just not reality, man.
You're completely out of you're derailing the whole conversation.
What?
The Jewish people are the rightful owners of this holy land.
No. They don't.
It's written in the Bible.
No religion owns any fucking area. Okay? End of story. No religion says, oh, well, this country, all this land right here, this belongs to our religion. It doesn't work that way.
It does.
Nope.
According Bush told Moses that they should go and Israel, but they should build a temple.
I don't care who told what. That's not the way it works. Okay? A religion doesn't own fucking land.
The only thing I don't like about that is that the Jewish hasn't recognized Jesus as the Messiah. They're still waiting for the Messiah. I recognize Jesus Christ as the Holy Savior of all the people.
Well, that's really wonderful for you, Manny. I'm really glad that you have that kind of insurance backing you up, buddy.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, Max, and I think they're our friends. They really care about us.
Wait, what is what it is? Wait a second. I was talking about Jesus backing you up now, and then you said it is what it is. What is it is?
Things, that's the way it's supposed to work.
What work? What things?
That the Jewish people are the rightful owners of the land of Israel.
Yeah, that doesn't make you understand the words that you're saying, right, Manny?
Yes.
Okay, I find that hard to believe.
It's by God's mandate that they should be in that land and they should build their temple. So the Messiahs can finally come and take him to heaven. For us, it's going to be the second coming of Jesus, but that means the actual coming of the Messiah.
Well, good luck with that. I will definitely be holding my breath.
Well, maybe it's going to come like right after we die, Mark, but I mean, it's coming.
I'm going to live forever, Manny.
I don't know, Mark. I think you're smoking a lot of pot. I have pot.
You haven't heard the story about my dentist and his grandma?
Go ahead.
My dentist went to go visit his grandmother on her 90th birthday in Africa, and he was like, "Grandma, what is your secret? You always have a smile on your face. You're always so vibrant and full of life. How do you do it?" And she took him back in the bedroom, and she went into her dresser drawer and she pulled 2 joints out, and she said, "This is the key to happiness and long life." And then she lived to be 110 years old, Manny.
Well, I mean, everyone's different, though. You know, that's what they say.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not smoking. I'm not smoking, Manny. I'm not smoking, so you know.
Oh, you're eating edibles?
I eat edibles, but I also heat a piece of quartz crystal, and then when it cools off enough, I put a small amount of cannabis resin on it, and I inhale the vapor. It's not smoke, though. Smoke is much hotter and has a bunch of carcinogenics in it. This doesn't have that.
Interesting. Anyway, I just want to say that much, and I don't think we were heading to the World War.
Oh yeah.
We might get close to it though, because a lot of people are getting desperate, and it's not because of the COVID situation. It's because of the consequences of COVID. I'm talking about the socioeconomical and political consequences of COVID, not the COVID itself.
Yeah.
Let me explain though. A lot of countries are having issues because they're having a second lockdown. Australia, they're using the military now, which is kind of scary actually. That's authoritarianism, that's fascism. Fascist type of authorities. In France, you need to show an actual passport inside the European Union saying that you actually have the COVID vaccine. I mean, think about it. Don't they actually abolish passport like 20 years ago in the European Union for U.S. citizens?
Yeah, I don't think it was 20 years ago, but yeah. Look, this is look.
When did the European Union?
What about the European Union?
When did the actual European Union, the Schengen zone, actually became the Schengen zone?
I'm not exactly sure when it was.
1999?
I'm not sure, man.
2000?
I'm not exactly sure. Google it, okay? All right.
I'm on the phone. I'm talking to you. I cannot talk and Google at the same time.
Really? Wow.
Well, it sucks, right? That's just how my phone works.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
No. Yeah. It's. I mean, I can, in theory, if I have the right type of phone, I can do both at the same time. Anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much what's going on, Mark. I mean, Australia has lockdowns. China, apparently Wuhan is going back to lockdowns. Beijing and Shanghai are going back to lockdowns. Well, I was reading an article in Zero Hedge that this is probably going to piss so much a lot of Chinese people, though, that they might be the end of the Communist Party, though, as we know it. Because the Communist Party will lose control of the narrative.
Yes, and Iran is a threat to global democracy, so we are all clear.
Oh, yeah. You know why? And because a lot of the oil and a lot of the major shipments that goes in and out of the world has to pass through that strait.
Yeah.
that it passed through Iran. And
that does not make Iran a threat. What it makes is Iran a possible threat, a potential threat, because if you want to fuck with Iran, why wouldn't Iran fuck with you back? Right? Why are they fucking with Iran, Manny? Because it's a potential threat?
Yeah, because they see it as a major supporter of terrorism.
Okay, Manny, I gotta go. Good to hear from you. Okay, talk to you soon. Okay, so a major supporter of terrorism. So let's talk about who's a major supporter of terrorism. The United States just left $1 trillion worth of weapons in Afghanistan. How many trillions do you think they left in Iraq? Right? So, and what creates terrorism quicker than a giant pile of weapons? Right? I can't imagine. So basically, you know, again, the United States, and why would they leave all these weapons? It's like I'm saying, they have to get things in place, right? So like they put up this infrastructure so they're able to put out this much weapons, and then they get more weapons, and then they get, you know, they're building up, they're setting the stage for the next event, right? So they're ramping up to where they're ready to do the next thing. And oh, Iran is this giant threat. Iran is not a threat. None of this bullshit. You know, I played a video last week about supposedly Iran shooting a drone into a tanker, right? And I asked you last week, the week before, who does this benefit? Right? Does this benefit Iran to punch this little tiny hole, one little tiny hole into this tanker? Who does that benefit Iran, or does that vilify Iran? Does that, I mean, does that show you what Iran's capability is to be able to hit this with the drone? You know, I don't see it that way. Why would they show you what their capability is? They, you know, they're the most spied on country in the world. Everybody knows exactly what their capability is. Hello, caller. Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Hello?
How are you?
I'm fine.
So, we have some scores to settle.
Okay.
This is Patriot.
What does that mean?
Well, number of things. You were talking about my channel?
I was?
Yep.
When was that?
A while ago.
Okay. Not today, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Someone told me.
Okay. What was I saying? Because I don't remember talking about anybody's channel. Do you know what it was I was talking about?
What?
You said I was talking about your channel. Do you know what it was that I was saying about? What?
No, you did it.
Okay, what did I say?
The things that you brought up.
Okay. Well, what would you like to talk about? Oh, he's gone. I'm going to play a video for you real quick, and I'm going to go heat up my tea. I will be back in, let's see, 2 minutes. And I think that this is really important discussion that we're having, and I hope we have another caller, because I can't wait to talk to you more on this discussion. Be right back.
The Taliban have taken control of 2 provincial capitals in Afghanistan. The cities are the latest to be overtaken by the insurgents since the start of a major offensive in May. This comes as the U.S. pulls combat troops from the country. Reporter Trey Yanks is in Tel Aviv tonight with the latest.
Good evening. The situation in Afghanistan is deteriorating rapidly, with the Taliban making serious territorial gains. The northeastern city of Kunduz was overrun this weekend by the militant group amid intense fighting. Afghan security forces reportedly lost control of key government buildings and a prison that was housing Taliban fighters. This allowed the Taliban to reinforce their ranks as they continued an offensive on the city's airport. Also this weekend, Afghan forces backed by the United States conducted airstrikes in Helmand province, killing a reported 54 Taliban insurgents. Local officials claimed a school and clinic were hit in those strikes. The UN Security Council was briefed Friday about the situation on the ground, with Afghanistan's ambassador to the UN saying this.
We're compelled to ask for this urgent meeting as the situation in Afghanistan has been rapidly deteriorating due to recent escalation of violence by the Taliban and their brutal military offensives on major cities and population centers in several provinces.
All this as American civilians were urged this week to leave Afghanistan immediately. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul even offering reparation to those who can't afford a ticket home.
What kind of U.S. citizens are hanging out in Afghanistan? Right? I'm just wondering, because I can't imagine who is hanging out in Afghanistan other than CIA and the contractors that protect them. I'm sorry, mercenaries. I say mercenaries. I meant contractors. So let's see. I have one more video, but I really just want to have the discussion about, you know, the end of the world and World War III. You know, I just, it's not so much the end of the world as where is this, you know, slow motion war thing taking us? Where is this building up of more and more and more weapons taking us? Because like I was saying, they need the weapons that they built up. They need to use them. Otherwise, they can't get the fresh batch of weapons in place, right? You get that, right? So, I mean, it's really basic economics. You have this package. It needs to be delivered before you can, you know, fill the warehouse again with those packages. So, and that's what I was talking about, getting the infrastructure in place, building that infrastructure, preparing for the next war. How does this benefit any of us, right? I only see this as because there's so much money behind it, right? Because there's so much money behind it, we can just make it bigger and bigger and bigger. We can just push it further and further because... And as they do that, you know, once they expand their infrastructure so much, they're going to have to empty out all of it so they can move all the new stuff in. And mostly they're going to have to empty out a little bit at a time, like they always do. This is we start off with Afghanistan and we build the infrastructure, then we move to Iraq and we expand the infrastructure. And so it's been expanded and expanded. And the thing is in order to expand it again, which obviously is their plan and what they really want to do, in order to make that happen, then we need to have a new war. Just these current little, you know, cold skirmishes that are going on in the world, that's really not enough for them to expand the military-industrial complex. And it needs to be ever expanding. We have plans for this, people. So where is that going to leave the people who come behind us? Because I just despise this military-industrial complex being in charge of the world, basically. You know, because they're in charge of the world. And all they want to do is break things, you know, cause more death and despair. I should say spread more death and despair. because that's all they do. It's not like, again, they go in to rescue the downtrodden, right? Like the Palestinians. It's not like the Americans are here, don't you worry about it. Nobody's going to be, sniped when they're throwing rocks anymore. So, and we got you covered. You don't have to throw rocks anymore. We'll be right on the front lines. Anything they do, we got you covered. Iron Dome my ass. Where is the people that, we build this awesome military, we can do anything, we can protect the world. Where is the military? There's this military industrial complex. Every giant country, right, has this military industrial complex. Where is the one standing up for the downtrodden? Remember, in Iraq, it was the children and the women, and they're doing the same thing with Iran. I just played that video momentarily ago of the guys talking about what they do to women in Iran. It's obvious where this is headed, and it's not going to slow down because we're pulling out of Afghanistan. Where I see it more as rallying the troops, getting us all kind of, ready to go into the next theater of war. And and I don't see it slowing down. I don't see people trying to bring in the reins of it. I don't hear anyone in Congress talking about how we have to reel in the military-industrial complex before we have a World War III, because it's just getting bigger and bigger and gobbling up more and more of our gross national product. And the only thing that a war machine is ever going to do is make war. And we really don't need that. We don't need this giant war machine that goes around spreading death and despair. That's not who the United States should be. Now, if you want to have this military that rushes in and saves people, like the Palestinians, I think that would be awesome. I think that would be a military I could really get behind. Rescuing people, people loving the American flag, seeing the U.S. military coming in and saying, we got you. You're gonna be okay. I just don't see the military in that light. And it's not that I want to see the soldiers in some negative light, and I really don't. You hear me talk to Brandon all the time, and the soldiers are not the problem. The soldiers are doing a job, and the problem is the people who make all this money. The people who make all this money because war is happening. War is happening, baby. Get on that gravy train now. How can you not? It just throws money at you. How can you not be making, that's what the American dream is, to make a biggest pile of money, cash as possible, right? I have one more video about the Taliban, but we're not getting any phone callers. We don't have any phone callers, right? We're not getting any phone callers. And, well, I can give you a minute. I'll tell you what. I'll play the video, the last video about the Taliban, for a couple minutes. So if you want to call, talk about whatever, the problems in the world. Like I said, there's this massive amounts of money being used to spread death and destruction. And it's like I talked about Donald Trump, why I don't like Donald Trump, right? It's not that I don't like Donald Trump because of blah, 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 this. It's because Donald Trump was born with a gold spoon in his mouth. From what I understand, from the time he was 3 years old, he was receiving allowance to the tunes of $800,000 plus, considering inflation and all of that. From the time he is 3 years old. Now, and then he's, billions of dollars. He could have done anything with all this wealth, right? And what he chose, like I'm saying, saving the manatees, helping people that are, like the Palestinians, he could have made a difference in the world. And instead of doing that, he chose to be this, low life, guy who hung out with people like Jeffrey Epstein, right? Because we've all seen that picture, right? And you don't pose with somebody that you find disgusting. And those were definitely posed for pictures. So he could have made something good happen. And the thing is that our country, with all this money, could be making amazing things happen. I think with the $1 trillion that we spent last year on all this weapons, not making war or anything, just all the weapons, right? $1 trillion that are only going to be used to spread death and despair, right? We could have taken that money, and I bet you we could have saved the manatees for all humanity. We could have made sure that the manatees exist for generations and generations to come. But that is not the plan. The plan is not to give a damn about future generations in any way, shape, or form. Unless, of course, your parents are war profiteers, and then they're building that American dream in the form of a big, giant pile of cash off of little dead babies in the Middle East. You can't wait to get that money, huh? Don't care how much is covered in blood. I love money. Mom and Dad, you're the best. Okay, so I'm going to play this video about Taliban taking over basically all of Afghanistan. They're quickly in the process of saying, don't let the door hit you in the ass. And I hate to laugh because it's so sad. But watching the world's only superpower, get their asses handed to them is amazing, right? They love to talk about how the United States is the world's only superpower. Well, they just got their asses kicked by a bunch of people living in mud huts and caves. Your words, military-industrial complex. Oh, wait, here's trillions of dollars more to waste on a war that you can't win against people living in mud huts and caves. Because you have all the technology in the world. And you can protect the people. I don't see it that way. I find it really difficult to believe that anyone else does either. Either. All right, here you go. I'll be right back. This is going to be your last chance to call, people. So I'd love to hear from you.
The Taliban has captured 3 more provincial capitals, this time in northern Afghanistan, as they intensify their offensive to seize power following the withdrawal of Western troops. Now, the 3 cities appear to have fallen largely to the Islamist militants within a matter of hours of each other. The biggest of those 3 is Kunduz. It's a city of more than 250,000 people. The provincial capitals of Sar-e-Pul and Taloqan are also largely in militant hands, although the government in Kabul insists its forces are fighting back to retake lost ground. Well, here is our diplomatic correspondent, Paul Adams.
Fire and confusion in the centre of Kunduz. Taliban pictures appear to show yet another city falling under their control. This is their biggest prize so far, a large city, economically and strategically important, and it seems to have fallen easily. Afraid of the fighting as much as the Taliban, civilians are fleeing, some of them heading south for Kabul. A government spokesman says the Taliban will soon be ousted, but similar claims have been made elsewhere, apparently without result. To the west, Taliban fighters inspect newly captured government buildings in Sar-e-Pul, another provincial capital, one of 3 reportedly captured in just one day. The Taliban have now captured 5 provincial centres. As well as Sharipol and Kunduz, they now appear to control Zaranj, Sheberghan and Talakan. No longer content to control the countryside, but confident enough to move on major cities.
If the Taliban could make it to Kunduz, maybe they could make it to Kabul, and that in itself is a big fear. The only good option would be if there's some kind of a political settlement, but that doesn't seem any more possible today than it did 2 or 3 years ago.
And tens of thousands of Afghans are being displaced. This is not just a political and military disaster. Decades of conflict in Afghanistan have created whole generations of refugees. The West's military withdrawal is almost complete. Afghans fear they're being abandoned. The government can request American airstrikes, but for how long and to what effect? Paul Adams, BBC News.
To get a bit more on this continuing Afghan conflict, I spoke to Dipali Mukhopadhyay. She's a senior expert on the Afghanistan peace process for the US Institute of Peace, and she told me how she does.
All right, people. We didn't get any phone callers, and it's too hot in this room. So, again, a heads up, the next couple days I am definitely going to be running the swamp cooler and the fan, so there will be background noise. That being said, we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same MOX time, same MOX channel. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky. Some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company. Keep it Brightside.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of...
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have MOX News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. MOX News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to MOX News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, MOX News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on to Tune in and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.